करो. I'll wait. I'll wait. Once you're done, let me know. I'll start. Okay. Can I start then? In what about it, Tapas? Can I start? Okay. So good evening, everyone. So welcome back to the session. So good evening, Irfan. In the last session, we have spoken about Docker file, right? We have seen deployment and everything. So in today's session, I'm gonna teach you about the concept of Docker volumes. Which one? Docker volumes. So first of all, let me install Docker quickly and start working with it. Basically, today concept is gonna be a little complex for you to understand, but we'll try to make it easy for you. Okay. So please focus on the session while I'm explaining. If you miss something, entire concept will be gone. Okay. So systemctl start Docker and check out the status. Fine. So it is starting now. So the concept of today's session is gonna be volume. Sir, what exactly volume? Containers can host the application, correct or not, sir? For example, let's take in my server. Okay, in my server, I want to store the data. What I want to store? Data. So, like in that case, we use EBS volume in server, correct or not, sir? But when it comes to the Docker, basically in Docker, you are going to use volumes. What you are going to use? Volumes. So the main purpose of volumes in Docker is to store the data inside the container itself. So let me explain how exactly it is going to work for you. Right. I need to open some previous notes. Volumes. Yeah. So you can see here, the main purpose of volumes is to store the data inside the container. And volume is simply a folder, you can call it as directory or nothing but folder. For example, let's take you are having a, like I'm gonna remove every stuff here. Let's take you have the container. Inside this container, you want to store data. In that case, you are going to create something called as volume. What you are going to create? Volume is nothing but simply a directory. Volume is nothing but simply a, that means a folder. Inside this volume, you are going to store the data itself for container. Okay. But the best part is, for example, in container one, I have the volume one. Okay. Same volume I can be able to share with container two also. Let me explain this here like in lively. Here in container one, which volume I have, sir? Volume one. Same volume if I want to share to my container two, it is practically possible. That means it doesn't matter how many containers you want to share. You can share same volume to multiple containers itself. Are you seeing multiple containers here? Container 2 and container 3, okay? Same volume I can be able to share with container 2 and same volume I can be able to share with container 3 itself. So it is my container 2. Container 2. And next one is going to be my container 3 itself. It's my container 3. Is it clear for all of you now? So see here, it is easy to store data inside container. Volume is simply a directory inside the container. Single volume can be shared to multiple. That means already I have volume 1. Volume 1, I have on container 1. Same volume I can share to container 2 and container 3. And the major part here you can see container 1 volume I can share to container 2 with same volume and container 3 with same volume and container 4 also same volume. At a time, we can share only one volume to one container. Let's say I have two containers. I want to share my volume 1 to both of the containers. I can share only one by one. First of all, I can go to container 2. Then only I can share to container 3. Two of them, if I want to transfer at same time, it is not practically possible in the Docker itself. In the next point, whatever the volume you are going to create inside the Docker container, it will be stored on varlib Docker volumes. Guys, it is going to be very, very important path to remember in the Docker volumes concept. For example, you create volume inside the container itself. Okay. So, but still in your local, you will be having the same volume in the path of varlib Docker volumes itself. That means, for example, I create volume 1 in container 1. Same volume 1 can come to my local path also. But what is the local path here? Varlib Docker volumes. And one of the important component that you need to remember in the volumes and containers are going to use the host resources. Containers are going to use the like CPU, RAM, ROM. For example, it is my Docker host. That means my EC2. My EC2 is having one CPU, 1 GB of RAM, and 8 GB of EBS volume. These resources are going to utilize by the containers. For example, if I create two containers can use one CPU, 1 GB of RAM, 8 GB of EBS volume. Now, if I create 10 containers can use within one CPU, 1 GB of RAM, and 8 GB of EBS volume. Of course, we can extend also. I'll show you how to extend. But before that, I want to make sure that containers use host resource like CPU, RAM, and memory for the containers are going to come from Docker host itself. In our case, what is the Docker host here? EC2. Why? Because we install Docker on EC2. If you install Docker on Windows machine, that means on your laptop, now your EC2, your Docker host will be Windows, like that. So is the intro of Docker containers clear for all of you? All in. What about you guys? Is the Docker containers, I mean like volumes, intro clear for all of you? Can you please confirm me once? Okay, if it is clear, then we can go for the practical part. Okay, so remember, practical part is going to be very, very easy. But if you focus, it will be enough for you to understand. If you miss any part, it's going to be very difficult for you. Okay, so please go ahead and do this one now. So basically, volumes you can create in multiple ways. I'm going to show you all the multiple ways. One method is enough, but I'm going to teach you three methods. How many methods? First method is going to be from the Docker file. That means all of you know how to create Docker file, right? In the Docker file from Ubuntu. That means I am taking Ubuntu basic OS and here I'm taking volume. What is the name of the volume? Volume 1. I have the Docker file. I'll build it and I'll create a container. Let's go and do this one. In Docker file, D will be capital. First of all, what is the first component? From Ubuntu. Next, volume. I'm creating volume, so I'm using volume component. So I'm using /volume 1 itself. Okay. Now you have the Docker file. From the Docker file, what you gonna do? Build. Tell me the command to build the image. Docker build -t. Name of the image. I am taking it as Raham V1. Input dot. So it will download the image and it is gonna create the volume. Now tell me one thing. Where is my volume located now? Inside the Docker image. Go and give the command Docker images. Currently, where is my volume? Inside the image called Raham itself. So now if I create a container from this image, will the volume get to my container or not, sir? Yes or not? Now then tell me how to create the container from the image Raham V1. Tell me the command, all of you. Docker run it name. Image name is what? Raham V1. In Raham V1, what you have now? Volume 1, right? So just go and give ls. Are you seeing volume 1 here? The same volume will be creating on your local path also. What is the local path here? Varlib Docker volumes. Please make sure this point is very clear. If you create a volume, the same volume will come to Varlib Docker volumes also. And here inside the volume 1, I'm going to put some content now. Let's take, I'm going to create some files. Here you can create whatever the files you want. It doesn't matter. Okay. Here I'm creating 5 files. How many? File 1.5. Give ls. Are you seeing the 5 files now? Of course, if you want to give some content also, you can give cat greater than file1. This is my file1 from container 1. Now save it. Now come out of the container. Now tell me one thing. First of all, you have the container 1. Inside the container 1, what you have? Inside volume 1, how many files I created? 5 files. Now my intention is to share the same volume to container 2 and container 3 as well. Now how can I share the volume from container 1 to container? Copy is to copy files. Here I want to copy the entire volume. We need to custom. Okay, I'll explain. Don't worry. You doesn't know this concept. I'll explain. But before that, what is the local path for my volume, sir? Var lib docker volumes. Here you can go and start using some volume name here, which is very big actually. Sir, I put some files inside the container one, right? The same files will come to local also. You go to this path, are using same files on my local. I want to make sure that whatever the data you put inside the volume, same data will be come to the local path also. Which path? What is the local path here? Var lib docker. That means this is directly connected. If you create files on volume, it come to local. Or if you create files on local, again it will go to volume. It is bidirectional. Even though if you put content on volume, it will come to local. Or even though if you add files in the local path, it will go and replicate to the volume. Is the point clear for all of you? Online, is the point clear for all of you? Whatever I said now, can you please confirm in chat box? Why? Because it's very, very important point in the entire volumes concept itself. Acha, fine then. So it was clear for all of you. So now how you can share the volume from container 1 to container 2? Very easy, sir. First of all, I want to share volume from container 1 to container 2. Tell me the command to create container 2. Docker run -it hyphen name of the container 2. Image, don't use RAM v1. Why? Because inside RAM we have the volume. What is my intention? I want to share the volume from one container to another container. But if you use RAM v1, volume will come from image. Na? You got my intention? RAM v1 is having the volume. If I use this one, automatically volume will come from the image. But what is my intention? To copy the volume from one container to, let's take Ubuntu. Which one? Now hit enter. So now if you go and see, you are inside the container, right? Where is the volume? By default, volume will not come. Okay. Let me show you how to do it. Basically, I need to delete this one. Docker fill container 2 and give docker rm. Okay. I'm just showing like how to do it. Docker rm. Now the same command you give. Okay. But before name of the image, put -v. What you need to put? -v. Like basically -v stand from volume. Put hyphen volumes from. You want to copy volume from which container? That's it. Enough. Hit enter now automatically. If I give ls now, previously there is no volume inside the container 2. But are you seeing volume 1? Go and give cd volume 1. Are you seeing the same files now? Are you seeing the same content now? Yes or not? Now what I have done initially, see the concept one more time if you miss initial part. Initially I create volume where? Inside the container 1 and I put the data. Now data is inside the volume 1. Apart from volume 1, same data is inside the local path also, right? And now what I done, I copied the volume from container 1 to. Now I have two different containers, but volume will be same. Now my container 2 is also having same 5 files or not, sir? Same 5 files or not? Like that. Now the major part is, even though if I add new files here, let's for example, let's take instead of 5 files, I'm adding 10 files. How many files? Now my question is, if I add new 5 more files, will these new files replicate to my volume 1 inside container 1? Yes. Why? Because containers are different, but volumes will be same. Now what exactly I'm going to do is, initially I have only 5 files. But here in my container 2, I have volume 1. I am adding 5 more files. How many files? Let me go into give touch file 6.10. Let's take. Now how many files are there? 10 files. Now same 10 files will be inside my volume 1, which is on container 1 or not, sir? Yes. Why? Because the only thing you need to understand here is, here you have the volume same. Containers are different, but inside container your volume will be same. And of course, even though in your local path also you are going to get the same 10 files. So here also I'll be getting the same 10 files itself. I'm going to write 10 files. So is it clear for all of you now? This is how it is going to be interlinked. Okay. So now just go and check, come out of container 2, go for container 1. How can I go inside container 1? Docker attach container 1. Now go. Are you seeing 10 files now? Yes. Come out of container 1. And even I'll go to local path also. What is local path? Var lib docker volumes. That is a volume name. Okay. I'm giving 03 like something. Inside I have data folder. Are you seeing 10 files now? This is how it is going to be interlinked with it. Is the logic behind the volumes clear for all of you now? Yes. Fine. I believe all these changes will also replicate to container 3. Of course, if you share volume 1 to container 3, again, container 3 will have the same files now. 10 files will be coming. Okay. So if you want me to show, just go and give the command docker ps. How many containers I have now? 2. Let's go and create new container called container 3 and check container 3 is having 10 files or not. Tell me the command to create container 3. Docker run -it. Name of container will be container 3. Use Ubuntu image. Why not Raham? Because Raham is having already volume. So now put -. How to copy the volume, sir? Volumes from container 1 or container 2. Anything is fine. Why? Because container 1 and 2 is having same volume itself. ls. Are you seeing volume 1? cd volume 1. Okay, wait. cd volume 1. Now how many files you are going to see? Are you seeing 10 files now? This is the whole concept of the volume itself. Okay. Again, I'm repeating the whole concept. If you miss initially, just try to listen now. Initial, I have container 1. Inside container 1, I create the volume. What is the main agenda of volume? To store the data. And if you store data inside the volume, same data will come to local path. What is local path here? Var lib docker volumes. Correct or not, sir? And volume is nothing but a simple directory. Single volume I can share to multiple containers, but at a time I can able to share only one container. And in volume 1, which is on container 1, I have 10 files. Will 10 files replicate to container 2 volume 1? Now in container 2 volume 1, I create some other files. Will it replicate to container 1 and local path? Yes, correct. So is the concept of volumes clear for all of you know? First method? Yes or not? All in, what about you guys? Is the method number 1 of sharing the volumes clear for all of you know? Can you please confirm in chat box? Guys, in real time, you need to use volumes. Okay, it's gonna be very, very important concept to understand how the containers work actually. Okay, fine. So it was clear from all of you online. Sir, can we create multiple volumes in one container? Of course, Satyavani, you can do it. I'll show you. Don't worry. Okay, fine. So the next part is method number 2. You successfully seen method number 1. And one more thing, guys. While sharing the volume, you can also use -. Privilege is equal to true. This also you can use, but it is not mandatory. Even though if you remove this, it's completely fine. But I put it here. If you want to use, you can use it. But otherwise, it is not really recommended. So method number 2 is creating from CLI. In method number 1, how I create the volume from the Docker file itself. How I created Docker file. But in method number 2, I'm gonna show you how to create from CLI. So I want to create a volume called volume 2 inside my container 4. Tell me the command to create container 4 first of all. Docker run -it -name container 4 and image Ubuntu. So to create volume from CLI, put -v. What you need to put? /volume2. That's it simply. Now if I go and give ls, are you seeing volume 2 now? Very easy method or not, sir? What you are doing, just putting the -v. -v stand for volume. And what is the name of the volume? Volume 2. Now I'll be going inside volume 2. I'll create some files called Java files or Python files. Okay, it doesn't matter. Whatever the files you want to create, you can create any kind of files itself. And the rest of the things, right? Yeah. Wait, guys, this is half of given here. Give me a second. I have the notes on Google Classroom actually. I want to get the complete notes. Otherwise, like it's become very difficult for you to understand without notes. EPS 6 p.m. Streaming I have given, I think so. Okay, fine. Like I have this one, this is enough. Okay. Let me go and give this one for you. Okay. So in method number 2, like here, what exactly I'm trying to give now is I'm gonna create some Java files. Which one? Touch Java 1.5. Now give ls. Are you seeing Java files? Come out of the container. Now same files will replicate to my local path. Which path? Var lib docker volume. See the volume name. So this time volume name is 159. I can see with the timestamp actually. Of course, you can rename them also. It's completely fine. Okay. So go to this particular folder. That is 159 and put underscore data. Are you seeing Java files? That means whatever the content you create on volumes, same content will replicate to local path. Now the same content I want to copy to container 5 itself. Tell me the command to create container 5 first of all. Docker run -it name container 5. And if I want to copy the volumes, what is the command? -, volumes from, I want to copy it from container 4 and image name is finally Ubuntu. Give ls now. Are you seeing volume 2? CD volume 2. Are you seeing same content or not, sir? Now, if I add some more Java files, it will replicate to my container 4 or not, sir? Correct or not? Let's go and check. Touch Java 6.10. Let's take this one. ls. So you can see the new files now. Come out of it. Now give the command docker attach. I want to go and check for which container, container number 4. Are you seeing the rest of the files here? Yes. And the one more thing is the same files will be replicated to my local path also. In local also are you seeing Java 10 files now? That's it. So it is my method number 2 itself. Which one? Method number 1 is from Docker file and method number 2 is from CLI. Is the concept clear for all of you know? Yes. Fine. Container 4 itself. So again, like after creating, I'll go to CD volume 2 and CD volume 2 and I'll create touch Java 6.10 and after use control PQ, go and give the command docker attach container 4 and go and check with ls. And if you want to check on local path also fine. So method number 1 is from Docker file. Method number 2 is from, are these both methods clear for all of you know? Sure, everyone. Online, what about you guys? Are these both methods clear for all of you know? Can you please confirm in chat box once? So again, like Durga and Nikhil, I'm not sure like why you are not able to understand method number 2. It is simply like method number 1 only. First of all, guys, Durga and Nikhil, try to listen. First of all, create the container call container number 4 itself. Which one? And hyphen we stand for volume and name of the image will be Ubuntu. Now after you run this command, you'll get a volume inside container. Go to that volume 2 and create some files called Java. Exit from the container. Now this time you are going to copy the volume from container 4 to container 5. Like I am creating container 5, but I am sharing the volume from container for itself. I'll remove the privilege is equal to true. So now after if you go to container 4, after if you go to container 5 itself, now go to volume 2. And if I give LL, how many files I can see by default? 5. Later then I'm going to add rest of the files itself. Okay. Again, exit from the container and check with the container 4. Again, container 4 will be having the same files itself. I hope it is clear for you, like Nikhil and Durga. No? Can you please confirm, Yeah. Fine. So the major point is once you create a volume, you put some files. The files will come to by default which path? Varlib docker volumes. As per the diagram, you can see varlib docker volumes. And if I copy the volume from one container to another container, same files will go. Why? Because containers are different, but volume will be same. Till now, how many methods we done? First method is from docker file. Second method is from which method is easy? CLI. Why not docker file? Docker file already you know, right? So, but in real time we use Docker file mostly. CLI we use very, very rarely. Docker file is the best approach. Ubuntu is the basic image which have operating system. Na? To build the RAM image also, you need to have Ubuntu first of all. You got the point? Now the main concept will comes into the picture. That is volume mounting. Which one? Which is very, 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 very important in the real-time work as well as in the interview also. Which concept it is? Volume. First of all, I'll talk about volume mounting, but before that, what is the meaning of mounting? Correct only. Mounting means adding or attaching. What do we call as? Sir, in this method, in the method number 3, first of all, I'm gonna create volume. I'm gonna create a inside this volume, I'm gonna put the data now. Okay, inside the volume, I'm gonna put the data. Now, after that, that volume I'm gonna add to any of the container. So let's take this is the container. Okay, whatever the volume you created, this volume I'm gonna add to the container itself. Let's take it is my container 6. Container 6. First method, second method will be similar. But third method is somewhat different. In method number 1, method number 2, you attached the volume directly, right? But here first you create the volume and then put data. In method number 1, method number 2, what happened? First of all, you create the volume and container both at a single time. Then only you put the data. Correct or not, sir? But this time it's not like that. This time, first of all, I'll create the volume. In the volume, I'm going to put the data. Then only I'm going to attach to the container. But in method number 1, method number 2, both volume and container created parallelly. Then only you put the data. But this time, volume first, container next. Is the difference between method number 1 and method number 2 clear for all of you now? Yes. So let's go ahead and create the volume. How to create a volume by default? First of all, I'll tell you basic commands. If you want to create the volume, there is a command called docker volume create. Which volume? Name of the volume will be volume 3 itself. And if I want to see list of volumes, the command will be docker volume ls. Are you seeing volume 3 now? What is the command to create the volume? Docker volume create and name of the volume name. And if you want to list the volume, docker volume ls. Sir, tell me in Docker, which command will show me the complete information of a Docker component? Inspect. Correct or not? So just go and give Docker like inspect. Like I'm inspecting volume. So give Docker volume inspect. Which volume you want to inspect? Volume 3. Are you seeing the mount path? Mount path means you are going to put data inside this folder. Already you know local path, or you can call it as mount path. That means if you want to put the data inside the volume 3, you need to go to this path. What is the path? Tell me. Var lib docker volumes volume 3 and inside now put some files called Python. What I'm gonna put? Touch Python 1.5. Are you seeing 5 files now? That means you have your volume now called volume 3 itself. What is the name of the volume? And inside volume 3, which files you created? Python. Is the point of creating a volume and content clear for all of you know? Yes. Again, one more time. What is the command to create the volume? Docker volume create. And what is the name of what is the command to list the volumes? Docker volume ls. What is the command to get the complete information of volume? Docker volume. It is the mount path. Mount path means the path where you are going to put the data. Now you have the volume, you have the data. Is it clear for all of you know? Now let's go and attach to the volume itself. Here. You're taking the picture, huh? Don't worry, I'll give the notes for you, okay? Fine. So now I have the volume, I have the data. Now you are going to put the volume inside the container itself. So first of all, tell me the command to create the container. Container 6, Docker run -it name container 6 and OS will be, I'm going to take it as Ubuntu. Now put -- mount. This time you are adding now. So put -- mount. Source. Source means what is the name of the volume? Volume 3. Correct. And put destination. What I need to put here? And while give destination, please make sure that comma is there. If you don't put comma, it is going to bring some error. See, destination is equal to, that means in your container, which name you want for your volume? I want my volume name as volume 3 only. I want my volume name as, but here I need to put comma. That's it. So first of all, it is a command to create container 6. Mount means I am adding my volume 3 to the container called container 6. Destination means in container 6. What is the name of the volume you want? Volume 3 only. Hit enter now. There you can use ABC also. It doesn't matter. You can use ABC, XYZ, anything. Now if I give ls, are you seeing volume 3 now? CD volume 3. Are you seeing Python files now? Yes. That means first you create the volume, you put the data and give it to container, whatever it want. Similarly, if I create Python files in my container, will it replicate to local or not? Replicate or not? Let's go and check. Use control Q. So now I want to go to which path? CD, var, lib, docker, volumes. Name of the volume will be volume 3 underscore data. Are you seeing Python 10 files? That's it. It is the concept of mounting. So mounting is nothing but create the volume first, put some content and give it to the container. It is different from method number 1 and method number 2. In method number 1 and 2, you create volume and container both at the same time. But in method number 3, first you create the volume, then only you are going to give it to the container. So this is what exactly we are going to call as volume mounting. So is the concept of volume mounting clear for all of you know? Online. What about you guys? Is mounting the volume concept clear for all of you? Can you please confirm in chat box? What about remaining online? Okay. So now you can ask me, sir, how many methods we learn here? In real time, which method you are going to use? Method number 1 and method number 3. These are the frequently used methods in real time. Okay. Method number 2, you won't use much, but I said for your knowledge purpose only. Method number 1 and method number 2 are very, very important for the interview point of view as well as real time work calls. This both will be useful. That's it. So method number 1 done from the which method? Docker file. Method number 2 is CLI. Method number 3 is mounting. Tell me one thing. For single concept, do we need require this much of methods? One method, right? But the reason why I said is for complete knowledge. Again, tell me what is a Docker volume now? It is a storage for the container. Volume is simply a directory. Inside volume, if you store data, that is going to replicate to local path. What is the local path? Var lib docker volumes, and single container can be shared to multiple, single volume can be shared to, but at a time we can only share one. That's it. So this is the whole and sole concept of the Docker volume mount. Can we mount volume to already existing running container? Definitely, Rajesh, you can go and you can give. There is a command called Docker update. Okay, that way you can do, or otherwise we have some different methods to do also. It is possible. Fine. So the next method is, sir, from till now in method number 1, method number 2, method number 3, you copied the volume from container to container. For example, you have container, inside container you have volume. You can copy the same volume to one container to, that means data will be shared. But my question is, I have data on my local folder. I have data on my, how can I send data from my local folder to container? How it is possible? By using copy you can do, but already your container is running. Think logically, you will get the answer. See, I'll tell it very, very easily without any confusion. Let's go ahead and do this one. No. Like, let me make it very clear for you. Let's take in my local path. This is my local path. I'm gonna create some files called Raham files. Which files? 1.5. I mean, you can do this on two methods. Okay. This is the path. You got it? Huh? Then hold on. Okay, I'll ask you. Okay. There are 5 files here, like 6 files here. I want to copy it to the container call. Let's take a container 6. I want to copy it to container 6. How can I copy the content on my local folder to the container 6 itself? Think logically. Correct. Like, how you can do it? You said the answer correctly. See, my major question is, I want to copy the content, like what are the content in my local? These files I want to copy to container 6 or container 543, anything. How can I copy? How it is possible practically? Take your time, think and let me know, okay? Whatever you are telling, tell it loudly, okay? If it is correct, I'll appreciate. If it is not correct, I'll correct you. Take it? No, not required. Or I'll give a bumper offer for all of you. If you want, you can use ChatGPT help also. Take ChatGPT help. Take it, man. In ChatGPT, try to search for how to copy the content from local to running container and let me know what the answer you got. Okay, take your time. Use copy component. That is a very difficult method you are saying, and it will take some time to do also, Nikhil. I want the easiest method. I got the answer. Docker CP. Okay, let me show it for all of you here. Like I'll ask ChatGPT now. Open ChatGPT. Try ChatGPT. So here I'm typing the prompt, how to copy the files from Docker host. I mean, like local or Docker host, both will be same. From Docker host to running container. Running container. It is telling that Docker PS, Docker CP, so and so, and again using the some different methods, right? But I'm gonna show it within one command. But here you are seeing multiple commands. No? I'm gonna show it very easily. Sir, you want to copy it to which container? 6. Container 6 is having which volume? Volume number 3, right? What is the path of volume number 3? Give CP star. Huh? Now go and give var lib docker volumes volume 3 underscore. Now this volume 3 is already attached to container 6. Now what I'm doing, simply copying all the files. Now if I hit enter, if I go to this path called var lib docker volumes volume 3 data, are you seeing RAM files got copied? Now if files are in this local path, will it be replicated to container or not, sir? Let's go and check. Docker attach container 6. Hit LL. Are you seeing RAM files? From where the RAM files got copied? From my local directory. That means from Docker host or not, sir? It is the easiest way. Correct or not? All you need to apply is a simple logic. What you need to apply? Simple logic. In the same way, I have content on my Docker container. Can I copy the data from Docker container to my local folder? Yes. How? How? Now tell me how. For example, let's say I have all of this content in my Docker container number 6. How I can copy the content from my Docker container to my local path called root path? I want to copy to root path. How I can copy? First of all, come out of the container. Content is on which container? Container number. For container number 6, what is the volume we are using? Volume 3. Go inside volume 3. CD, tell me var lib docker volumes volume 3 underscore data. Now give LL. Are you seeing the content? I want to copy the content to which folder? Let's say root path. Which path? So CP star slash root. It is saying that I already have Docker file in root path. You want to override. Yes. Of course, RAM file is also there. Just give yes, 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 and yes, fine. Now go to CD slash root. Give LL. Complete files copied or not, sir? This is a simple logic. It's a simple logic. The only logic you need to understand is understanding the local path. Which one? If you understand local path, it is very easy for you to understand. Correct or not, sir? That is the reason I said this var lib docker volumes path is very, very important. Now tell me, can you copy the files from container to local? And again from local to container also, can we copy the files? Yes, that's it. So is the concept clear for all of you now? Can you please confirm me, all of you? Online, what about you guys? Is the concept of copying the files from local to container and container to local clear for all of you? Can you please confirm in chat box once? Okay, fine. So now this is the complete concept of Docker volumes. Okay. So next concept is going to be how to allocate the resources. Like I'll tell that one, but let's take a break. Why? Because volumes is a bit difficult concept to understand and to process, I know. So let's take a break in the meanwhile. In the meanwhile, I'll try to ask some questions for all of you. Try to answer this one. Which tool questions you want to test yourself? Ansible you want to test, huh? Sure. Okay, I'll ask you a question then. Question is very easy question, but you need to apply your brain. Okay. So only one question I'll ask. Try to answer this one. For example, in Ansible, I have 100 nodes, 100 servers. Which one? For the 100 servers, I just want to get the information of 4 servers. Okay. I want to get the information of, I want to get the CPU information, RAM and memory of these 4 servers as this. How will I get it? What is the process? First, we need to ping. We need to check the response. Of course, correct. But you have 4 different servers, na. That means, are you going to use grep command 4 times? Huh? Ping, you have given all, but my requirement is out of 100, you want 4. For example, let's take one is on dev server, one is on test, one is on UAT, and one is on prod. How will you do it now? You have 20 dev servers. I mean, like 25 dev, 25 test, 25 UAT, 25 prod, for example. Now, one dev, one test, one UAT, one prod server I want. How will you do it now? Already answer you know. Modules also you know. But how you can frame it? That's what the scenario based questions are going to happen. How will you do it? Hmm? In index, you can put dev of 0, test of 0, UAT of 0, prod of 0. That is correct. Next, what you gonna do? Use debug module. Debug module will print the message. Take the CPU, memory, and RAM as variables. Run the playbook. Will execute or not, sir? Already we discussed this concept. You know how to give the specific IP address of the node. You know how to print the CPU, RAM, and memory information. Everything you know. But what is the thing that is stopping you to tell the answer? Hmm. Sorry? Playbook explanation is done. I am asking you the question. You know the concept. You know the host, how to give the host, you know. Dev of 0, test of 0, I said. Okay. You know, we need to run debug module to print the message. And you need to use variables to print the output. Already we seen this in the class. But why you are not able to answer the question? That's what I'm asking. Or acha, like I'll ask on this way. What is the command? What is the model to print the playbook? I mean, like to print the content from using playbook. Which model will print the messages? Debug model. In host section, if I want to execute a playbook on developing one server, dev of 0. If I want to execute on testing first server, test of 0. Now understand, first time I ask the question together, combining by creating a scenario. Second time I ask the question individually. Second time you are able to answer. But first time also same answer. But why you are not able to answer very first time? That's what the question. Because understanding the requirement, you need to understand the requirement. You need to understand the scenario. Okay. Lot of people, like I'm talking about experience. Basically, as a fresher, you won't get these kind of questions actually. But these kind of questions will come for the experienced people. Okay. For experienced people, don't expect direct question and answers. Sometimes the question will be scenario based. Even though if it is scenario based, you need to understand and you need to break down the question into multiple parts to give the answer itself. Is it clear for all of you? And don't worry, for freshers, like you are not going to get these kind of questions. Okay. I am asking it on experienced basis. Fine. So now, sir, already you know our Docker containers are going to use host resource, correct or not, sir? That means if you go and see by default, how many containers I'm having now? Here by default, just go and check Docker PS. I want to see the container CPU and memory utilization. I can use Docker inspect, correct or not? Can use Docker inspect. For example, if you want me to show, give the command Docker inspect. Let's take any of the container 6. If we go and see for container number 6, if I go to top here, from here you can see the CPU and memory actually. If you go to this one, CPUs and memory, let me share it for you. Are you seeing memory here? Are you seeing nano CPUs? That means by default, containers will come with 0 restrictions. That means containers will use the complete CPU and complete RAM. By default, there is no restriction. There is a one more command called Docker stats actually. Which one? Docker. In Docker stats, you can see how much of CPU is utilizing, how much of memory is utilizing by the container. You can see it lively. This is the live response of containers. Instead of using Docker inspect for CPU and memory, use Docker stats command. Which command? Currently my container 6 is using how much of CPU? But memory, how much of memory it is using? But container 1 is limit is 950. Container 2 also same. Container 3, 4, 5, 6. Every container will come with zero restriction. That means container can use how much it want. For example, let's take a scenario. In your family, you are 6 persons. You, your brother, father, mother, grandmother, grandfather. Your father bought a biryani packet, family pack, for example. You are very hungry, sir. You like go outside and you play cricket and you are very hungry. When father bring the biryani packet, if you alone eat it, what is the position of remaining people? Then to die or not? It's starving. Similar condition will happen with the like Docker containers also. How many containers I'm having? For example, let's take just like you ate the full family pack biryani, this container one consumed the total RAM. 1 GB RAM it consumed. Then what about remaining containers? They will stop itself or not, sir? Why? Because there is no enough RAM for the like container, and there is no enough CPU for the container. So by default in Docker, your containers will don't have any restriction. That means it can use as much of CPU, as much as memory it wants. But as a DevOps engineer, we are going to set the limits of the CPU and RAM for the containers. How to set the limits? You can set the limits for the existing containers, or you can set the limits for new container also. I'll show you both ways. For example, let me go and see. Tell me the command to create container number 7. Docker run FNIT name container 7 and image I'm going to take. Now put hyphen CPUs. Sir, out of one CPU, I want to give 10% of CPU to the container. So I can use 0.1. 0.1 indicate 10% of CPU. Total number of CPUs is 1. 10% means 0. And put hyphen memory. Sir, out of 1 GB RAM, I am just giving 300 MB of RAM for the container 7. So hyphen CPUs, how much of CPU I am giving? 10%. And how much of RAM I am giving? 10 RAM. Here RAM means I am talking about like RAM actually, not ROM. Okay. Hit enter. Now come out of the container. Now give Docker stats command. This time you can see for container number 7, what is the limit here? But rest of the containers will come with the default values. But this container is coming with the restriction or not, sir? Yes. Even though if you go for Docker inspect, in the Docker inspect also, you can use Control C to stop the Docker stats. Okay. Give the command Docker inspect container number 7. Now here, if you go and check in the top, you can see total number of memory allocated is 300 MB and total number of nano CPUs. Nano CPUs means out of one CPU completely, I am giving 0.1. That is 10%, right? So it is the nano CPU. And what is the value of nano actually? Nano means 10 power 6 or 9. 10 power 9. How many see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's it. Okay. Nano means 10 power 9. So like this, you can check the CPU and memory utilization of the container. For example, see, sir, currently you are giving the 300 MB and 0.1 CPU. For example, these resources is enough for now. But in future, I want to update the resource. In future, I want to make it 500 MB. How much I want to make? And CPU, I want 30%. So how can you update the existing resource of the Docker? So in that case, you are going to use the command called Docker update. Which command? So use the command Docker update. Docker update. What is the container you want to update? Container 7. For container 7, how many CPUs you want now? 0.3, 30%. And like how much of RAM you want? 500. Now if we go and check, inspect container number 7 or like use Docker stats. What is the value you are seeing now? Update to 500 or not, sir? And even though if you go for CPU now, use Control C to stop Docker inspect container number 7. Previously it was 190, but now it is 3. 9 zeros. In this way, you can allocate the resource to the containers. After allocating also, if you want to update, there is a command called docker update, which will update the existing container components. So is the concept of allocating resources clear for all of you know? Everybody. Now tell me, I want to again update the CPU utilization to 70%, memory utilization to 700 MB. Now tell me how to do it. Docker update. I am updating to container number 7. Put hyphen hyphen CPU. 70% means 0.7. Hyphen hyphen memory is equal to 700 MB. It is telling that it is not possible. Why? Because think logically, already your Docker container number 7 is having how much of memory? Memory is 500. But now you are adding 700. It is more than expectation or not, sir? So now in this case, what you're gonna do? Decrease the memory value. So memory value, I'm decreasing it to, let's just take 300. It's fine. Is it done now? So that means if you try to give the more memory than our host, is it accepting? Why? Because our Docker host capacity is 1 GB. But if you try to give more than 1 GB, it is not going to accept. In that case, try to increase the memory limit of your host itself. Now go ahead and give the Docker inspect container number 7. You can see the inspect value. Memory is 300 MB and CPU is 70%. Is the concept of resource allocating in Docker clear for all of you know? Everybody. Online, what about you guys? Is the concept of resource allocating in Docker clear for all of you? Can you please confirm me once? Great. So I'm giving the concept here, resource management. Here I'm writing this one. By default, Docker containers will not have any limits for the resources like CPU, RAM, and memory. So we need to restrict the resource usage for the containers. You know how it is working? It's not any special kind of software. If you use Windows H, hello world, whatever you type, that is going to exactly print out here. See printing or not, sir? Windows H. Okay. Basically, I use this kind of shortcuts in my real time to save the work actually. So in real time, I need to do documentation instead of sitting and typing manually. It's a boring work. I use Windows H and I'll just say what I want to say. Automatically documentation will be done. Okay. You also have the chance to prepare your own documentation. Use the same method. Huh? Smart work, huh? Just now only I got to know. Okay. So now let me give the containers. First of all, Docker start is the command. Docker starts is the command to check live CPU, and memory usage. Okay. So to update, it is the command already I have given the Docker update command. This is to update the existing resource, and while creating the new resource also, like you can able to allocate. Okay. Update and before that. After creating the container also, can we able to restrict the resource or not, sir? My question is, already you created Docker container, but you want to restrict the CPU and memory. Can you do it or not? Yes. Okay. And one more thing is by default Docker containers will use host resources like CPU, CPU, RAM, and memory. Like I can call it as ROM itself. Okay. And resource limits of Docker container should not exceed the Docker host limits. That means if I want to give CPU and memory for my Docker container, you can give, but it should not be greater than your Docker host itself. That's it. So in today's concept, completely we spoke about volumes and resource allocation in the Docker itself. So are the concepts clear for all of you today? Online, can you please confirm is the concepts clear for all of you today? Yes. So now I'm going to ask you a question for all of you. What is the meaning of containerization? Process of packing application with its dependence. Now I'll ask you a question. How much time it took you to set up the Jenkins itself? How much time it took to set up Jenkins? Tell manual method. How much time it will take? 5 to 10 minutes. By using my script? 2 minutes. But I can set up now this within 5 seconds. How means you need to wait for it? Huh? So basically, sir, you don't believe whatever the dependency that you required for Jenkins is already installed on the Docker image. If I use the command docker run -it name of the container will be -p stand for 8080. 8080 is for container. Second one is for image. So give Jenkins Jenkins LTS Jenkins LTS. This is the image name actually. This is what here. That means in this image already Jenkins is installed. Now from this image I am launching the container with port number 80. Hit enter. Now automatically it is going to download the Jenkins image and my Jenkins container will start automatically. It will take maximum 10 seconds. How many seconds? I mean that depends upon your internet speed also sometime. So if the speed is low, it will take some extra time. But again, you need not to do anything. Already my Jenkins is set up here. If you want me to show, just to go and copy the public IP address of my EC2. What is the port number of Jenkins? 8080. See, there you go. You can see the Jenkins now. Now, if you go and see here, you'll be seeing the initial admin password. Are you seeing this one? Copy this one and give it to the browser itself. Automatically, without installing any software, without using any package, without using any script, my Jenkins will work as it is exactly we use on the previous classes. Let me show it out for you. It's like loading. Wait for some time. Yeah. Now give your password like this. Click on continue. So now install the packages just like how we do for normal Jenkins setup. Same setup. Now packages are installing. Sir, even though if you want to set up Tomcat, take the Tomcat image, create a container, automatically Tomcat will set up. That means already we discussed the meaning of containerization. Containerization means process of packing application with its Jenkins is a tool. Already what are the dependencies that required for this tool? Already packed in the image actually. In the above section, if you go and see, already if you go and see, I have used the image itself. Where it is. Oh, this is not the one. I think. Okay, let's wait until it is done. So here in this image already my Jenkins is install. So already Docker packed the dependency of the Jenkins. So if I directly use that image, automatically I can able to set up the Jenkins. Jenkins setup by Docker. Just simple, this one command only. That's it. Even if you want to install Tomcat, give Tomcat image here. Now, if I want to install what do we call this one? Like MySQL database, use MySQL database. Even for Nexus, use Nexus image here, like that. Whatever setup you want to do, you can do any setup from the Docker itself. Now you can see almost all my plugins got installed here. That's it. So now my plugins are done. So what I'll be doing now, I'll be logged into the Jenkins itself. So I'm gonna skip this step. Save and finish. Start using Jenkins. Now same Jenkins we seen in the previous session or not, sir? Are you seeing any differences here? Same to same. But here, have you worked anything? One single command we worked on. How many commands? But again, the output is same, process is same, plugins are same, dashboard is also gonna be same. That is the power of Docker actually. Why a lot of people prefer Docker means we need not to work on anything. Already work is done in the image. Go and copy the image and use it as per your requirement itself. Docker Hub, Docker registry. So now, before going for doubts and queries, first of all, how's the class for all of you today? Is the class clear for all of you? Online, what about you guys? Is the class clear for all of you now? Can you please confirm on chat box? Okay, fine. So now it's time for our interview questions. Let's go and discuss the interview questions here. So coming to interview questions today, like, what is a Docker volume? The storage use it for the containers and simply it's a directory. Okay. Volume can be shared to multiple containers, but at a time we can only share one volume. What is a Docker volume mounting? Adding the local volume to the Docker container itself. And what is the home path for Docker components? Varlib Docker. See, if I go to varlib Docker, that is the home path for complete my Docker itself. Now come out of the container. Just to use cd varlib Docker. Just like varlib Jenkins, here also varlib. If I go and see, are you seeing folders for images here? Are you seeing Docker networks? Are you seeing Docker plugins? Are you seeing Docker volumes? That means entire Docker components will be presenting on the Docker home path itself. What is the home path? Varlib Docker. And how to allocate RAM and CPU for containers? By default, Docker containers will not have any CPU and any RAM. So we need to give -- CPUs and -- memory. And one more thing, already if I have a container which is having like 0.5 CPU and 200 GB of RAM, if I want to increase the capacity, how I can increase? Docker update. I have two containers. Container number one is using 70% of my CPU, and container number two want like 30% of CPU. Is it possible? Container 170, container 230. Is it possible? Yes. But container 170, container 250. Is it possible? No, it is exceeding the limit. When the limit is exceeding, what you gonna do? You are going to increase the host CPU and host RAM. I think all of you know how to increase. I said in the class itself. Correct. And what is the layer in image? It is also give one of the interview question. Basically, if I go and open Docker file, okay, from is one layer. Volume is how many lines you are going to write. That is what we can call as layer actually. Which one? Layer. In upcoming classes, I'm gonna show you how to reduce the Docker image size. Okay, in real time, it is your responsibility to reduce the Docker image size. For example, if your Docker image is 1 GB, you need to bring it to at least 500 to 400 GB. If you don't bring like that, it is going to consume a lot of storage from your Docker host. So there are some image compression techniques which I'm going to teach you on upcoming days. Basically, I can teach but for today it is fine. I do not want to go for much concepts today. It is fine. In tomorrow's class, remind me how to compress the Docker images. That is your tomorrow session class. That's it, guys. So now if you are having any doubts or any queries over today's class, offline you can go ahead and online you can raise your hands. So first question is from Akhil. You can go ahead, Akhil.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Akhil, I can able to hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Please go ahead.
So yesterday we learned that image and container. So once we create the image, then we can create number of containers. So now it's a volume. So in the real time, we just create a volume once and keep update and use volume and containers. Or like I want to know the relationship between the image and the volume.
See, basically your container is like a server. You know this point, right? So in
Yes.
server, how you store the data inside the volume only. Similarly, your container need to store data inside volume. First of all, before creating the container only, you need to create your volume first and put the data. That means the mount is the option that you are going to use in the real time actually. Akhil.
Okay. So I'm going to say like how frequent we use image versus the volume in the real time.
See, without image, there is no operating system and packages. Without volume, there is no data. So definitely in real time, if you are creating container, means these both need to be available. Without this both, you are not able to use anything. Even you need to create network also, which is the upcoming days concept for you. Okay. So after
So
couple
we
of
can,
sessions, you'll be getting the complete idea about Docker. Why? Because we are still in day 3 only. So we have 4 more days to complete Docker actually, Akhil.
so we can create different volumes for different purposes.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. But the
All right.
general point of view for creating the Docker volume is to store the data inside container. That is the general point view, but you can customize as per your requirement. You can store any kind of data based upon your requirement.
Okay. So for some, suppose we have three volumes for three different purposes. So when whatever we need that volume for different containers.
Hmm.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Next, Srivani, you can go ahead.
Hi sir, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Srivani.
We have shown the how to add CPU and memory, right? So
Yeah.
instead of from the CLI, can we add it in Docker file? How to do it if we can?
Basically, there is a concept to do it, but in general, basically what happened, no? Like in real time, first of all, you are going to define quotas, Srivani. Okay.
Okay.
From there, you can able to allocate the CPU and RAM actually.
Okay. Can you show?
If you define it inside, basically, like I'll tell you one thing. If you define it inside, that is going to come from image point of view, right?
Yes.
But you want to restrict to the container. So there is a difference between the question what you asked and the like what I have shown you here.
Okay. The
Yeah.
quotas that what you have telling, right? How to do
Yes.
that?
So basically, the
where-
quotas concept you are going to exclusively use on Kubernetes. So like I'll tell you one thing. In real time, the major purpose of using Docker is to create image only. Okay. In real time, you are going to manage containers by Kubernetes. Okay. In Kubernetes, I'm going to teach you how to give quotas and how to give the limits and exceptions of the resources, Shivani. Basically, here I am teaching you this much, but in real time, Docker, you are going to use it only for image building itself. But again, the containers and everything you can manage from Docker Swarm, but Docker Swarm will have a lot of limitation. That is the reason we are going for Kubernetes itself. But again, if you want me to give an overview about Docker quotas, let me go ahead and show you in the official documentation. You can go this one, runtime optimization with memories and CPUs. Okay. Same how exactly I shown you here, hyphen memory for swapness and for reservation. Same thing you can do it. But in real time, instead of this method, we're gonna use quotas here. If you can go and see, are you seeing CPU quotas here?
Yeah.
In this way allocate. You can use hyphen CPU hyphen quota. Okay.
These we can we have to do from the CLI only, right? This quota and all.
Yeah, that's what I am telling here. See, if you want to
Hmm.
use it as quota, you can use CPU period and CPU quota. Same thing, just use hyphen CPU quota. So what
Yeah.
exactly the quota is, you need to understand now. Quota is referring that impose a CPU CFS quota on a container. The number of microsecond per CPU period that container is limited before throttle. Okay, but I am telling you in real time, you are not going to use it in the Docker itself. You are going to use quotas in Kubernetes itself.
Okay. Yeah. Understood.
Why? Because Docker will have a lot of limitations. That is the reason we go for Kubernetes.
Yeah. And one more thing, volumes we are used to share the data, right?
Yes,
So in
exactly.
real time, actually you're telling at a time only one container can use that volume. Then what
It's
is the
basically we
use?
can share to multiple containers also. There is a concept called Docker Compose. There at a time you can share it to multiple containers also. But it is like a better to share one volume per one time to one container.
Okay. Okay.
Why? Because if you share multiple, na, so they are going to have some conflicts. That is the reason I said one at a time.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, one more thing. In this Docker, usually in servers and all, we'll balance this load balancer, application gateway and all.
Yeah.
How this we can implement in this containerization?
Basically, here in tomorrow's session, I'm gonna show you how to expose the application. Okay, there you are able to understand how I'm gonna add load balancer, gateways, everything to the application. Okay, and again, the same concept will come in the Kubernetes also. These are your upcoming concepts, Shivani. What exactly you are going to ask?
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And one
thank you.
more thing, in that volume, that privileged equal to true, we have mentioned, right?
Sorry, in volume, I have given
That option privileged equal to true.
privilege is equal to true. Yeah, yeah. That is not mandatory. It is optional.
What is the use actually?
That is, I'm giving permission to share. But even though if you don't give permission, that is completely fine actually.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's all. Thank
Like I think like you are working on Docker in real time, huh, Shivani?
you. Yeah, yes. Yes.
Okay, so I just want to know from your end, like how the work in real time and how the teaching here, like are these both correlating as of now, like only for this
Yes.
part, like building Docker image and everything?
Yes. Yes. It's correlative. Actually, I am from I have never worked on the Docker and actually Kubernetes. The
Okay.
current project I got it is Docker and Kubernetes. So the application which is currently we are in our production, we need to same setup. We need to implement in the Docker and
Okay.
Kubernetes. Azure. Actually, we are using cloud. So cloud is
Okay, okay.
Azure.
Azure, okay.
So actually, I don't have any idea about this. So I just
But even like even though it is Azure, like same Docker file right from there and here, right?
yes, yeah.
Yeah. So don't worry, by the end of the Docker and Kubernetes, you will get lot of knowledge that which you require for real time to work.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And guys, what about you? Remaining any doubts or any queries? And how many of you gone for mocks today? Only 1, 2. Okay, what about remaining? Okay, how many of you want jobs here? Raise your hands. What about remaining people? Some people are not raising the hands. Guys, tell me one thing. If we provide an opportunity for the interview, you will go for interview directly. Okay. First of all, whenever if you go to interview, there will be a lot of fear for you, right? Due to that fear, only a lot of people will lose the jobs. But to overcome that fear, only here we are conducting mock interviews for free. But if you don't attempt that mock interviews, ultimately who is going to lost? You don't know the values of mocks now. After the completion of course, if you attend for 2 or 3 interviews, first 2 or 3 interviews you are going to fail ultimately. Then you will know the value of mocks actually. Okay. So try to attend for mocks. I am telling you, without attending the mock interviews, it is very difficult to face the interviews directly. Okay. So try to attend from the next week at least. It will be helpful for you only, right? It won't helpful for me. It will helpful for you only. Okay. So try to attend. So Durga, for this week, there is no online actually. We kept it only for offline, but next week we are going to connect for both online and offline. Okay. Fine. But because we have like sort of mentors in this weekend, so there is only one mentor available. And from Monday, you'll be getting new mentor. Okay. Don't worry about that mentors. I have given the notes also. You can take it from there. So, or like still any doubts or any queries again, if you are having. Rajesh, you want to speak? Huh? Okay. Please go ahead, Rajesh.
Hello, sir.
Hello,
I have
Rajesh.
questions. So first one is while pulling the image, right? So is there a way to find out what is the version? Is it a validated image, verified image? That is my first question. And
so basically
second,
that I'm gonna explain in the Docker Hub concept. Okay, in Docker Hub, I'm gonna show you how to search for the images and how to pull them to the local. Okay, tomorrow is a Docker Hub concept. What you're gonna learn, Rajesh?
okay. My second question is Jenkins uses the port 8080, right? So
Yes.
to install the Tomcat as well in the other container. So we are going to bind the port using -.
Basically, as per your last Jenkins session, I said both Tomcat and Jenkins, we never gonna install on same server. Okay, so these will be installing on different servers. Of course, if you wish to install on same server, I shown you how to change the port
In
number for
containers,
Jenkins and
different
port. Yeah.
containers in the same host.
Yeah, then you can alter the port numbers. Now I shown you how to alter the port numbers also.
By -p, so 8080 means the first one should be container and second one should be the
Yes. Already I said with the shortcut of CI. CI stand for container, and second one is gonna be image port number. Okay.
yeah. Okay.
Fine. And all of you are going for Linux classes. How many days done till now? 1 month done till now. I don't think so. 1 month. 12 to 13, huh? Okay, that means you are going to have like 20 days pending mostly. Okay. So try to learn Linux. Why? Because I'm telling you one thing. In DevOps, there are some legacy tools like Docker and Kubernetes. These both built on top of Linux only. If you learn Linux, Docker and Kubernetes will become very easy for you to troubleshoot. If you don't learn Linux, Docker and Kubernetes are never going to be easy for you. That is the reason I recommend everyone to learn Linux separately. And the more best part about it, it's free of cost for you, right? No need to pay amount for it. Okay. You can go and you can gain some knowledge. Fine. Okay then. So I hope so. Like this is enough for today's session. Let's meet on Monday's class with some new topic. Have a great day and great weekend. Bye all. Thank you everyone. Thank you online.